few weeks ago, my wonderful sister got me Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on PS5 for my birthday. She usually gets me LEGO Star Wars sets recommended for ages 9 and up, but the Great Circle was rated 16 by Peggy, so I'm finally maturing. On the one hand, it's been frustrating to wait 4 months for the Great Circle to come out on PlayStation after it was already released on Xbox and PC. But on the other hand, we have Uncharted, so in a sense, we've been playing Indiana Jones games for 20 years. I'm not a huge fan of first-person games, I much prefer third-person. I find first-person disorienting, it makes me dizzy. It's why I've never been able to get into Borderlands or Far Cry or Call of Duty. But I wanted to play the Great Circle so badly that I forced myself to get used to it. And I'm glad I did, because this is everything I wanted from a AAA Indiana Jones game. It recaptures that classic Indy feel with pulpy action, intriguing mystery, and globe-trotting adventure.
You have any idea how old that was?
It was a brilliant move to open with Indy's quest to find the Golden Idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It introduces you to all the controls and gameplay mechanics through a delightfully familiar sequence. It's a spot-on recreation of one of the most iconic openings in movie history. It was a perfect way to open the game. It lets us relive the moment that made us all fall in love with Indiana Jones and puts us in Indy's shoes, sneaking past the booby traps and running from the rolling boulder. Troy Baker gives an amazing performance as Indy. He gets everything absolutely right. Not just the voice, but the delivery style, the roguish attitude, the dry humor. Honestly, throughout the game, I kept forgetting it wasn't actually Harrison Ford doing the voice. He's that good.
You ain't no nun, sweetheart. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Antonio tells me you have some special deals.
Gina Lombardi is Indy's best love interest since Marion Ravenwood. As an investigative journalist, she's just as daring as Indy and just as intuitive. They have a fun, playful relationship, and I smiled like a sap every time she referred to Indy by her affectionate pet name for him, Strombo. The search for Gina's missing sister personalizes the adventure beyond just looking for a MacGuffin. Voss is a classic Indy villain. He's a German archaeologist, so he's basically a Nazi version of Indy himself. Voss is essentially a mashup of Belloc and Tote from Raiders. He has the smarmy intellect of Belloc and the Nazi sadism of Tote. Throughout the game, Indy reckons with the painful realization that he and Voss aren't so different. Voss has more radical political views than Indy, but they're both barging in where they weren't invited, plundering the historical treasures of various cultures. The character animations are incredible. When you have a conversation in gameplay, you'd think it was a pre-rendered cutscene. The body language and facial expressions are photorealistic. Usually in-gameplay conversations just have the character's lips move, but here they look real.
Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I could keep up?
I found the gameplay features to be a mixed bag. The climbing and swinging mechanics aren't as smooth as Uncharted. The climbing is so ridiculously slow. Present-day Harrison Ford could scale a building faster than this. The hand-to-hand combat is less clunky. I liked having a separate control for each fist, so you're not just mashing the square button like in the Arkham games. You can actually strategize. But Indy's stamina is pathetic. He runs out of breath faster than I do. He's being chased by dozens of Nazis with guns and shovels trying to kill him, and after 5 seconds he needs a rest. He's supposed to be an action hero. It took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out you can upgrade his stamina, and even longer to figure out how. But his stamina shouldn't have been that low to begin with. It's a pain in the arse to keep him well fed too. You're constantly picking up fruit and biscuits so he doesn't starve. It's like having a baby. This is an action-adventure video game. Why is his nutrition so important? And why is he eating bread and figs he finds just anywhere? He eats food he finds in a basket floating in a murky brown river. It could have been anywhere.
You nasty.
Going into the Great Circle, I expected Uncharted with a whip and fedora, but it goes in a totally different direction. The Uncharted games have a very linear structure like an action blockbuster, racing from set piece to set piece. The Great Circle, on the other hand, is a sim. You get to be Indy in real time. You have plenty of time and space to explore areas, go on side quests, and get into the nitty-gritty of Indy's day-to-day work. It's not like an interactive movie, it's a more immersive experience. Of course, it still has plenty of action blockbuster set pieces. You get chased through a flooded pyramid by a giant snake, you get stuck on a frozen Nazi battleship careening down the side of a mountain, then find yourself rooftop hopping across war-torn Shanghai and jacking a fighter jet in midair. The Great Circle's action sequences are even bigger and crazier than anything the movies ever did.
I'm trying! I don't want you to die!
I don't either!
In between these action sequences, there are a lot of bullshit obstacles that bring the pace grinding to a halt. You sneak into an excavation site under the Sphinx, you're just about to enter a tomb full of traps and scorpions, and then you have to go all the way back into town to buy a lighter to light the way. You sneak through a Nazi dig site to infiltrate another tomb, you get to the elevator that goes down into the tomb, and then you have to follow a series of cables to find various switches to power the elevator. It really slows down the momentum. There were a couple of frustrating encounters that made me rage quit, usually sneaking across Voss's various camps and trying not to get spotted by the Nazis.
Fuck me! I can't... That's fun. Why do they make that if you can't even win? Then why am I fucking playing?
That's not really a fault of the game, it's just me being bad at stealth.
Kid, what the hell do you think you're doing?
I found the boss fight with the blind giant in a dark catacomb to be terrifying and infuriating in equal measure. He clicks his mouth to use echolocation to see in the pitch black, which I feel like they stole from a different Troy Baker game. I enjoyed the writing for the most part. They've got the character of Indy down pat. But I thought there were a few missed opportunities for one-liners. Right after a baddie is confessed to having a fear of heights, Indy throws him off a mountain and doesn't say anything. He could have said, "Don't look down," or something. But that's a minor gripe. The dialogue and storytelling in The Great Circle are still miles ahead of most video games. The game's open-world environments are richly detailed, and they take you to a wide variety of ecosystems. You get to explore an old-timey city in the Vatican, a barren, sun-beaten desert in Egypt, a harsh, snowbound mountain in the Himalayas, and the exotic jungles and rivers of Thailand. It really gives you the feeling that you've stepped into an Indiana Jones movie, Hotel Reverie-style.
You should know by now. I am always in control.
The Great Circle is the best Indiana Jones adventure since the original trilogy. It has a compelling story, a lovable foil for Indy, and a nice balance of curious puzzles, inventive investigations, and all-out Nazi-punching action. Aside from sucking at stealth and taking 10 minutes to climb a ladder, I had an absolute blast being Indiana Jones for 15 hours. Now that I've had to go back to being me, who has nothing in common with Indy besides the shitty stamina, I can't wait for the sequel. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.